Hi everyone, Paul Morbid here, Morbid Team Entertainment. Here, I'm going to talk a bit about experimental film, how you can get into it, the equipment that you need, that type of a thing. First off, as far as the equipment that you need, it's best to start out first collecting your equipment. Look online, different places like whatever type of online market that you have that you can get resources to, and check out cameras. And it's best, of course, as I've said before, to go and visit the location upon that you can to examine the camera. Alright, I use the ZC 1000 Fujica single 8. This is just one of my cameras right here, and I really enjoy this camera and the functions that it has. Alright, the big thing with experimental film in yesteryear and today is simply that it's been a good 50 years since everyone knew what experimental film was, and then of course using single 8 and super 8 cameras and using film. Once that you have collected all your cameras and equipment, you don't need very much. Owning your own equipment and cameras, and yes, you'll need more than one usually, will save you a bundle rather than renting. Just simply make an experimental film. It's best to study the late great experimental film artists such as Andy Warhol, Jonas Mekas, Maya Deren, and Hollis Frampton, and there are more. Take a look at their work. See what they've done. Notice how simple that is and why it was so effective back in the day and still today. It's best to take a look and pay tribute, rather, to the late great artists, because they're great then and now for a reason. Generally, experimental film is silent. Sometimes they add music, sometimes not. Sometimes it has a bit of narrative in it. But generally, if you hear some of the late great artists, what they're talking about is essentially, if you're going to break an object during your film, the sound effect that you add should be different if you don't add a sound effect at all. Music can be an effective tool with your experimental horror film, or simply your avant-garde film. You can do what you wish it, whichever way. And once you take a look at those late great artists, you're going to see and understand the point they were getting at. Listen to some interviews as well. As far as myself, years ago, back in the 70s in school, they played those films from those artists, you know, in a group class is what they did. And essentially that's what got me hooked on everything. Many of the late great artists will tell you they've worked on their films for years. This still goes on today with independent filmmakers. I know one successful independent filmmaker, and he spent 14 years working on a film. He thought he'd almost have to pull out of it, but he finally got it finished. As far as mine goes, this current film, this first film of mine, so far it's been a good 4 years. I want to make sure I get everything right. And the more time that you spend on it, getting to know more about what you want, the content in the film, the better off you are. It really is like that. You can go to film festivals and submit your films there, or you can simply sell your film outright. It is an underground film, do understand. Really, as long as you have a website, an online service, whichever that may be, you can just promote your film through there. Get some views on it, if that's what you want to do. Again, it is yours. You can use computers, or you can do it the old-fashioned way, like I'm doing, even with my ZC 1000, my Z800. You can see my film editor right back there. That's just one that I have. It is not a projector. For those of you who don't know, you just don't speed the film up on those spools and view it in the screen. Again, it is a film editor. You put your processed film up on the spool there, and on the other one you have an empty spool, and you hand crank that slowly. Look in the screen right there and you'll see it. It's not going to be like a computer screen, so it's going to be kind of maybe dark or bright. You can adjust it on there, but don't expect anything like a computer. All right, you can cut and splice on an editor like this, all right, to put in what editing that you specifically want into your film. Edit it whichever way you choose and then view it back later. But again, you crank the editor slowly. All right, choose your camera of choice, whichever that may be. I prefer, here again, the single 8 cameras from Fujica, again the ZC 1000 and the Z800. There are some others that I have, and simply just giving those out to, maybe some, crew member at the time who want to film something. That's just fine with me. And if the camera gets dropped, I'm not too worried about it at all. I haven't lost anything. Also, in some areas where I travel, I'll take those with me as backup. So I want to use that, is what I'll do. It basically does the same trick, but with a camera like this, the ZC 1000, you have a lot more features that are really nice. Some people will enjoy a Bolex for 16mm, but there are other choices out there on the market to purchase. Find a camera that suits you. That is the main goal there. For those of you who are asking, can I use a cell phone? A video camera? Yes, you can. That is still very popular there as well. Recording rather than using film. And, just get your experimental film working that way. Not having to worry with processing any type of film. It's a good choice there, and to be respected. Years ago, I was a talent manager for Star Wars actors, and that taught me quite a lot. And with that independent film back in 1986, it taught me a lot, being on set, looking at the special effects and the different things there. With an experimental film, you don't have to be so particular with your work. Now, as particular, I still am, as far as locations, and again, taking time. But if you're thinking, well, if you've been working, Paul, 4 years on a film and others longer, then I could shoot mine in 5 minutes. That may be good for you, but for me, finding crew that I already have, locations that you can say, well, that really speaks to me right there. I'd like to go there and film. You can. You can also get permission, which is a good choice to do. This camera, the Fujica ZC 1000, for those of you who don't know, but again, I highly suggest checking out the late great artists first before you start filming. and see what they were thinking about. You will have time when first shooting on film of discovering your exposures, different things with the cameras, and you will have a lot of questions. Those questions can be answered online, pretty much anywhere. All right? But the thing to do is create your own filming style and go out and film. Enjoy it and have fun. If you want to have the mindset of making the films for yourself and that they make some profit, that's great. Hollis Frampton he even said that. You may choose to shoot your movie on standard double 8mm film, and this is what these cameras look like. You can still get the film from Kodak. Check them out. So that's it. Do contact me at the social media outlets provided on the screen, and remember, as always, do subscribe. Until next time, later.